If you are feeling burnout, specifically creative burnout, or maybe you're not doing a creative career yet, but you're working all day at XYZ job and then trying to find time to create, to work on your creative passion otherwise, or you're feeling burnout because you're a parent, or burnout because you're just going through a rough patch, like whatever it is, all burnout is created equal, essentially, right? The Creative Spotlight with Emily Ulibarri, Episode 11, The Fastest Cure for Creative Burnout. Scene 1, take 1. Hello, creative souls. Welcome back to the Creative Spotlight. I am so happy to have you here watching with me because we're going to talk about all things creative process and how to expand your skills in your life as a creative. And burnout, of course, is probably one of the things that happens to you, not just as being a creative person, but like as being a human. And so what do we do? And how do we get back on the creative bandwagon? And how do we get back to feeling good again? So I'm going to tell short story time. I have a lot of wheels in the creative fire right now. That's not the expression, is it? Irons in the fire. Something about the fire. I got a lot of creative projects going on. So we're back here in season. We have an immersive theater in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and our season just popped off. And so we are back on the stage on the weekends. And my husband and I also work for this incredible program called Opera in the Ozarks, and we do it every summer. It's a lot because my whole normal production and performance life continues, which is busy. And then we just add in 2 months of intense opera experience, and I love it so much. We get to teach movement skills, stage presence, and do choreography for their program during the summer. So that just started as I filmed this week. And we also have 4 children, one whom is a baby who's only 3 months old right now. And so we zoomed off to go get to the first meeting and start production on the show, on these several shows. And I was so overwhelmed. We were in the car driving the beautiful drive through the woods to the Opera Theater, this gorgeous new theater that's just been built. I mean, everything about it's fantastic. I love this job I have with the opera that I get to work seasonally. And nonetheless, I am crying on the way because I have just left behind my 3-month-old baby. He's just taking his bottle for the first time, and I'm having all the hormones and all the feels, and I'm sitting there going, this is too much. Maybe I should just opt out. Maybe I shouldn't do the opera this season. And it was a sad thought to say because I love it so much. But I'm feeling the busyness and the pressure of all the things. And I'm also doing this channel, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. And I've got all these creative projects spinning. And I just was so overwhelmed with like these mom feels. And it's just, you don't have to be a mom to relate to feeling overwhelmed and feeling spread thin. And I really was considering opting out. And we walked into the room, a staff meeting, so all of the performing artists aren't there yet. And there's 30 or so people in the room, half of whom I already know. And it was instantaneous. I was just like, boom. I was filled. My heart was filled. I was filled with excitement. I was filled with joy. It's not like I left my baby home alone, right? Like, he's with grandma. He's going to be fine. But all of that trauma I was feeling kind of just went away in a 5, 6, 7, 8, if you will, because I was in the room with like-minded creative people. And that's the lesson I want to share today. If you are feeling burnout, specifically creative burnout, or maybe you're not doing a creative career yet, but you're working all day at XYZ job and then trying to find time to create, to work on your creative passion otherwise, or you're feeling burnout because you're a parent, or burnout because you're just going through a rough patch, like whatever it is, all burnout is created equal, essentially, right? Because it's the feeling that it creates in us of like overwhelm and just like, oh my God, I want to take a big nap. It doesn't matter what your source is. The solution, I believe, not from my own personal experience, but from a lot that I have witnessed, is to get into community with creative people. not just to get into community, not just to surround yourself with some people, but to be particular about the people you're surrounding yourself with. Because as you likely well know, we absorb and feel each other's energy in a deep, deep way. And so the magic that happened for me walking into that opera meeting was like, oh my gosh, look at all these people who are so happy to be here in this gorgeous theater about ready to take on these projects. The energy was shared. We were all happy to co-create. Now, you might be a solo creative. You might be like, I'm a solo singer-songwriter. I'm a painter. I'm a jewelry maker. I'm an author. You might inherently kind of be a soloist creative. And if that's the case, I say even more, you need to get yourself in a creative community. Mine bounces back and forth because when I go into playwright mode, I'm writing a new script. It's a pretty solo experience and I actually love it, right? I go find a nice spot out in nature and I start typing away. When I'm stuck, I lean into my husband's creative madness and he helps me get through those blocks. And then the creative solo time comes to an end after a month or so, however long I've been writing, and we go into rehearsal. And that's where we have our team. Right now, our theater team is 9 strong. So I've got 5. Oh my gosh, that's not even true. We just expanded our team. So I now have 9 actors and 3 on crew and then someone doing behind the scenes admin and media. So what is that? 12, 13. So that's big for our small company. And it's so great because I get to go be in the room with them and it's so invigorating. And we've done a great job of kind of choosing the right people to be a part of our creative team because I need people who are showing up with a smile and enthusiasm. We do not tolerate coming in with your woe is me lifestyle. That doesn't mean that, like, if you're having a hard time, I'm not going to be compassionate toward you. But it means that when you come into our theater, it's a space of healing. And so it's not a space to kind of come in and bring all your baggage. It's a space to kind of check your baggage at the door and allow yourself to be healed. Allow yourself to be lifted up. And sometimes if you come in and you're the one who's flying high, it's kind of your responsibility to help lift the others up who might be hitting a rough patch. So when I go into opera, this is probably a team of about 75, right? I need 40 performing artists and 30 or so staff members. It's a much bigger team than our small immersive theater team. And so the energy is so powerful. And I was like, literally within seconds, I was like, I can't believe I thought about backing out of this. This is amazing. Why would I ever back out of this? Because the energy was so strong. But let me tell you what will happen if you like, I'm feeling down, and you call a friend who's excellent at feeling down. Things are not going to feel better. So I encourage you to get into creative community, but be really thoughtful and intentional and selective about who you're asking. And it doesn't have to be a team of 13 or 70, right? And they don't even have to be your creative cohorts, right? It could just be someone, at least someone who gets it. I do encourage you to get in community with other creatives. Maybe you're a musician and your good friend who's got a positive attitude is an author. That's fine. It doesn't have to be the same medium, but get into a space where you can lift each other up. And maybe it's just you and one other person who you know can bring a positive energy to the picture. That is what's most important. Not their medium, but can they bring a positive energy to the picture? Because otherwise, they will bring you down, and then you will bring them down more, and then you will just race to the bottom. And instead, I encourage you to get into a space with like-minded creatives who will naturally, without even trying, lift each other up. Now, I had this from my own personal experience just yesterday, but I've been teaching in the dance and theater space for the last 20 years. And I have seen it happen time and time again on other people. For instance, just last night, one of our newest professional actresses was having a tough day. And she was about to call in to rehearsal and she's about to open a new show. And it was like, first of all, we have higher professional expectations than that. And second of all, I know what's going to happen to you once you get into the room. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm always right. but I was right. Right? Because she comes into the room and feeds off each other's energy, and not everyone was having a tough day. So naturally, she started to eat that positive energy and be lifted up through the creative process. So many times that happens in the world my husband and I have created, our Melon Light Theater. You will feel better walking out than you did walking in. And that's true for our guests in the house too. We've spent years teaching students, just amateur level students, and the same thing will happen. They've had a day, they've been at work all day, they're tired, and then they don't want to come to class. And it's like, oh man, that is the exact reason you need to come to class. You're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're exhausted. That's why you go, because the creative process is a healing one. So even if you are a solo creative, great, good for you. I'm not saying you need to expand and go be in a band, but I do encourage you to find a community of people to be with, particularly when you hit some lows. When you're not feeling grounded, find that team, get grounded together, and lift each other up. Sometimes you can find that community for free. Jump online, make some new friends, find a bunch of painters, find some musicians who do a weekly meetup, find something. I intend to build out a creative community here, and hopefully watching these videos I make for you is uplifting, but also, right, we're not like you're getting me, but I'm not getting you. And so until we build a more connected virtual community, which is on my agenda, by the way, so that we can actually like be on a Zoom call and see each other face to face and lift each other up, that's okay. It can be virtual, but it needs to be like two ways. You need to hear me and I need to hear you back. So keep that in mind. We're going to be building out a creative spotlight community. But in the meantime, go get in that sexy, lovely flesh with somebody else. Go have a coffee with a friend who's a creative and lift each other up. That is the fastest way to get yourself through overwhelm, burnout, feeling lost, feeling stuck, feeling like you want to quit. And sometimes, yeah, it's okay to take a big nap. Sometimes we just need some extra rest too. But take a nap and then go meet your friend for a coffee and some creative conversation. That's a wrap, darling. Now go do your creative work.